Hello and welcome to another weekly update. Plenty going on, certainly in the UK this week. It's been the week of extreme hot temperatures, which has been quite nice. Although not really been able to kind of make the most of enjoying them, being out and about. Either kind of stuck inside, as you know, it's air conditioned, so it's not that bad. But also kind of travelling around the country, which has been better. But yeah, so. Mustn't complain though, it's been nice, and actually the weather's turned again now, so it's kind of drizzly and not great. So I don't know, we'll see. Maybe that was the British summer, but see how it goes. Anyway, lots of other things happening. So this week I published an article that was put out by the Microsoft Industries UK blog. So there's a blog run by Microsoft, by the cloud advocates there in the UK, and this was all about kind of what it means to be a developer today in the Microsoft ecosystem, and what that means if you're not in that ecosystem, and what should you be thinking if you are a developer and maybe you looked at Microsoft 10-20 years ago and decided it wasn't for you for all sorts of reasons, and went down a different path. Maybe it's time to look at Microsoft again, because you know the premise of my article is that Microsoft is a very different beast now than it was even 10 years ago. So that might be interesting to you. It's non-technical, it's aimed at developers, but it's fairly kind of high level and broad brush. Yeah, I'd be interested to know what you guys think. But anyway, that's published there on the Cloud Blogs blog page. I'll put a link to that in the description. Other things, MSAL.NET 4.2.1 is now available. So this is the authentication library for .NET. Super useful if you are a developer building pretty much anything that needs to do Microsoft-based authentication. So Graph being a kind of really obvious example of that. Don't try and write it all yourself. Use the packages. Use the helper. This library is really good. It's mature now. There's a bunch of new features that have come with this new release. More control over the user experience, which is always important, and some setup performance improvements and general kind of performance improvements as well. So if you use MSAL.NET, then this new version is 4.2.1. Go and check out the release notes. It's all published. It's all on GitHub. And if you're not using MSAL, then it's worth having a look and seeing if it's right for your next project, because it is pretty good. Okay, so other things. So a really good video and blog post from Jace Marino, who is talking all about how Teams, and specifically apps within Teams, can kind of supercharge and make the best use of your IT investment. And so this is a drum I've been banging for a while, that Teams is great, but Teams plus apps and Teams plus developer add-ons and platform additions is even better, even stronger, because it's making it right for your organization, for your industry, for your workflows. So Jace's got a really good case study from a decent sized big logistics organization that have been through this process and have found that using an app inside Teams dramatically improves a workflow process that they had in place. So that's really cool. And it looks like, from reading the article, it looks like actually there was it wasn't like an out and out development. It was a kind of a low code solution using Power Apps. So that's even cooler, because you haven't got to sink loads and loads of development effort into building something that you could build quite quickly with Power Apps. It means that you either use your development resource for kind of more interesting things, or save money or whatever else it is. So that's all kind of very cool. Good to see. And it kind of means as well that the workloads they're talking about are about onboarding employees, and everybody needs to onboard employees. So at this size of scale, of this size of company, that's a really big deal. So actually though, take their learnings, take their insight, take their examples, take the video, and just you feed that back into your own organization, and you may not achieve the same numerical on paper efficiencies as these guys have, but every little helps, right? And so if you can shave even 10 minutes off the onboarding process in your company, that's a big deal. That's time and money saved. So, and actually, not only time and money saved, people are happier. If it takes 3 days to onboard someone, that person is kind of thinking, well, I'm not sure this is the company I want to work for. Where if you can onboard someone in 3 minutes, then they're like, okay, yeah, this company gets stuff done. I could work here. So that's a kind of really important part of things as well. All right, finally, I want to tell you about a blog post that Mary Jo Foley has put out this week, and it's all about the new Edge, the Chromium-based Edge. And if you're not aware of this, I think you should be. But anyway, Microsoft are rewriting Edge using the Chromium engine, the Chromium rendering engine. Doesn't have a great name at the moment apart from Chromium-based Edge. You can call it Credge. I think that's a good name. There are others, but yeah, so this is going to have a fairly big impact on how Edge is perceived. I think if you haven't tried this yet, please go and try it. The builds are available for free. They're called Dev Insider builds. They're pretty stable, to be honest. Anybody can get them. You don't need to sign in. You don't need to sign up. You don't need to be a developer. Go and get the build. Go and get the latest build of this Chromium-based Edge and just try it for a couple of days. You, I think, will be surprised. So after a day's worth of usage, I cut over from using Chrome. I don't use Chrome anymore. It is entirely replaced Chrome for me. All the add-ins I want are there. I can do profile switching. It is as fast, if not faster. The rendering is identical to Chrome, so that doesn't matter anyway. The dev tools are identical to Chrome, so that doesn't matter anyway. So I've completely moved over. So yeah, and it feels good. Anyway, the blog post is talking about how this Chromium-based Edge is going to look for the enterprise users. So there's a bunch of enterprise features that are kind of coming in to Chrome, this Chromium-based Edge, and actually this is what's going to differentiate from Chrome, because Microsoft are building in the enterprise features that it knows its customers, its big enterprise customers, are going to need. So that's kind of interesting. So things like integrated search. So when you do a search, not only are you searching for like the internet and Bing, you'll also be able to do targeted searches to find people and content directly from your intranet and from inside your company. So that's really interesting for users. Some other things, there'll be a new enterprise tab page. That means you can directly control short links and quick links into Office 365 services. You'll be able to securely sync information across devices. You'll be able to control that. Microsoft Information Protection is coming. Decent integrated deployment, config settings, SCM and Intune support, PDF support, things for support for digital signatures, support for Microsoft Information Protection. All this stuff is coming. So Microsoft are doubling down on their efforts for the enterprise. Interesting to see that, interesting to watch that. Completely no evidence for this at all. My guess would be that at some point they will want to say this is as good for enterprises as Internet Explorer, so you should stop using Internet Explorer, and not only that, we're just going to cut it off and we're not going to support it anymore, and we're not going to support Edge anymore. This is the one browser we're supporting, this Chromium-based Edge. So I think that's where they're readying themselves to say this is a better browser for the enterprise than anything that's come before it. But that's just my take. That might not be true, so we'll have to wait and see. All right, I think that's pretty much everything from me for this week. Don't forget, I do obviously a bunch of videos on YouTube, so you can get them from thoughtstuff.co.uk/video. If you're watching this and you'd rather listen to it, you can go to thoughtstuff.co.uk/podcast or /iTunes, depending on whether you are Apple or not. And yeah, follow me on Twitter as well, follow me on LinkedIn, wherever it makes most sense. Hope these are useful. Let me know if they are, or if you can think of ways to improve them. But anyway, have a great weekend and have a good week next week, and I will talk to you again next time.